In this podcast episode, I'm having a discussion with my student David Betcher from Michigan, United States. And it's an interesting chat that we're having, and we're touching on subjects like taking one step back to be able to take two steps ahead. And also the fact that there's a big difference learning an instrument when you're an adult versus when you are a kid. So yeah, that's a few of the topics that we're touching upon. Also know that there's a video version inside Mandolin Secrets Academy for this podcast episode that you can watch the entire episode. And if you're watching that one, you will also see that me and David, we were using the same dress code this day when recording it, putting on our nice blue shirts. So here we go. Hey there, music makers. I'm Magnus Zetterlund, and welcome to the Mandolin Secrets podcast. This is the place to get tips, inspiration, and stories that supports you on your musical journey. Thank you so much for tuning in, and just know you can go to mandolinsecrets.com/podcast for more information on how to keep up with the show and also find all previous episodes. Now, let's get this episode rolling. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing well, Magnus. Thank you.
Would you start with tell us a little bit about your musical background and your mandolin playing, of course?
Certainly. I had an interest in music, from an early age, and like many other children around me, I took some music lessons then. I started with piano. When I was a teenager, I became interested in the guitar. I took some lessons there. And then, as I, got out of school and started doing other things, I focused less of my time on developing any kind of musical ability or skill. But yeah, I would play the guitar a little bit here and there. Always been an avid listener of music and enjoyer of live music. I've spent a lot of time and effort, exposing myself to live performances.
Yeah.
And, one of the way that I came to the mandolin is a little haphazard. My grandfather was a violinist, and before he passed away, we talked about the possibility of me one day using his violin to learn how to play the violin. And that's a pretty ambitious goal. The violin is very different from the guitar, and I was never a very good guitar player. So in my mind, I thought, well, because the mandolin and the violin are similar in how they're tuned, maybe I'll try that as a fretted instrument, and maybe I could get used to the positions of my hands, and then maybe someday down the line, connect with his memory in that way. So I picked up the mandolin, and I just fell in love with it. And so that was a little less than a year ago that I've been playing mandolin, and so that really kind of changed my focus a little bit. But since then, I've really been enjoying my time playing the mandolin. It's kind of reinvigorated my interest in learning music and music theory and being able to apply that in getting musical ideas outside of my head and into the world.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think it's a really nice step of because going to the mandolin, you can use a lot of your guitar knowledge, of course. I also come from a guitar background, but that's so it's about, you said about 1 year ago you started doing mandolin. And may I also ask, how did you find out about me and Mandolin Secrets?
Sure. When I was first getting started, I just started looking around YouTube to kind of see what was out there. I was looking for tabs to try to learn how to play songs. I was just trying to kind of figure out how to orient myself and get started. And I subscribed to another content producer in the mandolin kind of space that I think had you on as a guest at one point. And so that's kind of how I became aware of Mandolin Secrets and Mandolin Secrets Academy. And, as I was starting to try different things, it just kind of resonated with me what I was seeing that you were doing here. And initially, I think my first exposure to your work was through the cross-picking webinar that you had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I was just instantly sold on your approach of just instruction and just, the tone and the style really felt like it was going to be something that would help um, progress my journey through in the mandolin.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, yes, because I mean, I do know there are there are a lot of content out there, and it's just interesting to hear because we haven't talked about it really. How I think a couple of months back, we've been working one on one. Are there any specific things that you feel that you've improved during this time? I mean, I've seen you taking a lot of progress over the months, but in your words, is there anything specific?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, especially as you're getting started with an instrument, that there are so many things to learn, and it's hard to have a sense of direction for what should I be focusing on in my practice? What should I be, which lessons should I be, exposing myself to and working on? And so having that sense of direction, I think even from our first call, I had an idea in my mind of how it was going to go, and I wouldn't say it was a vast departure from that, but
Ah.
we it was different than maybe I anticipated in a good way, in that, pretty much right away you started zeroing in on some of the things that would really help me down the line. Things, you're thinking from your experience as a musician and a mandolin player, and a perspective that I could just never have on my own. So being able to tap into that and have you guide me to things that are going to kind of multiply the effect of my
Mhm.
practice down the
Yeah.
line. That's a big one for me, and it touched on, multiple aspects of my playing.
Yeah, I think that's something we've been talking about, that maybe I had you to take one step back to take two steps forward because we've been like freeing up your technique, I would say, a bit, and getting some more drive and fluency into your playing. And it's yeah, that is probably one aspect of my experience also, that being in this well, making music is a long-term thing. So the changes we make today, just developed in a good way, will make a very big difference in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, if I compare my progress on the mandolin in the past year with the past 10 years of my progress, if you would call it, on the guitar, where when I would pick it up I would just, play around, maybe try to learn a song. I wasn't engaged or working against a goal, or really making any forward progress. um and if I compare that with even just the past year, the past few months, it is a dramatic difference, and I can see looking forward that it will continue to be so.
Ye- Yeah, and I mean, I'm only like serving you ideas basically, and you are doing the work, and I can really see that you are putting in time and effort into it, and that is the recipe for being a good player.
Yeah.
And also I kind of to tap in because I kind of really can see the difference because online teaching and online resources is a really good thing, but I love the format of it, but it also leaves a lot of responsibility for the student since there is very little like interaction with the teacher really. So, and that's also I think a lot of players can relate to that. And that's of course why I like this format of working with someone like this. And I did also notice that you were also using the technology and the use of video exchange a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and what is your experience by with the video exchange?
So I think that was really helpful in between, our sessions, which, when we would have a call, it gave me something to work toward. It gave me, some feedback and, hey, maybe work on this over the next few weeks. Um, and so that was really helpful. And then having that video exchange in between was a great way to check in. And again, to your point of, there are a lot of great things about online instruction, but there's a gap there. And this fills that gap perfectly of being able to just quickly record something. At first, I think I tried maybe to have a little too much production value, and really we found that even just my quickly recording, something I was practicing on my phone was perfectly adequate to be able to get the kind of feedback I needed to, just get a little bit of course correction in between those calls, and that was really helpful as well.
Yeah, and I also think what I love the video exchange, and I'm pretty sure you can confirm that that is also for you getting a lot of feedback yourself when recording and watching back your own playing. Um, so it's you're not only getting my feedback, but also your own kind of feedback from that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, and you are of course tech savvy, so I liked also how you tried to set up the mics and the video and all that. But of course, it is also it works. We're very quick and easy smartphone thing.
Yeah.
Was there any like concern and making you hesitant about doing the private teaching?
Yeah, the only concerns I had going into it were really feelings of maybe intimidation or not feeling like I had done enough homework to be ready for somebody for your time, I guess. Um, which, is yeah, when we first got on the call, I think those feelings went away pretty quickly, because and partly because you reinforced, yes, um this is the goal. We're working on this together.
Yeah,
Um, you can come to something like this with my level of experience, which is more minimal or more experience, and I think probably still get some benefit out of it. But um, yeah, that was really my only. If I had any reservations, that was the biggest one.
yeah, and I think it's a common one that. So yeah, I can hear you on that.
Yeah.
Was there anything like in our work together? Well, you already touched upon it that you were kind of maybe expecting something else in terms of our um, the way we work, but any other like surprising thing or something that about our work?
Uh, you thinking back on what kind of more one-on-one music instruction looked like for me previously, I was at a different stage in life. I think the attitudes of the teacher student relationship even are a little bit different when you're talking about an adult teaching a child or an adolescent.
Yeah.
So I think some of that was maybe I wouldn't it was what I brought with me to the experience.
Mhm.
And so um, not being treated like a child, which of course you wouldn't do, but in
Mhm.
my mind, I think that was one of the nice things of, just being reminded that, this is just something that I have chosen to work on and I'm getting support. Um,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
good, yeah.
That's good. Just realized here, by the way, when we used the same dress code for today.
We
Put on the
did.
blue shirts.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, well, I've already told you that this is probably going to be part of one of the podcast episodes, and if there is someone in your situation, and if they are considering like joining us or working with me in any way, what do you have anything to say to them?
I mean, yeah, I'd say go for it. I feel very positive about my experience all around. And I feel good about I feel affirmed in my choice to pursue, from that first cross picking seminar. I think I picked up on something that I feel like, at least for myself, but I think for many others, that you have a very good approach to not just music, but music instruction and to mentorship. And so I would say go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, David. I'm glad to hear that. What can you see here coming in the future for you and your mandolin playing? If you're looking maybe a couple of months, half a year ahead, what are you aiming for right now, sort of?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and we had a little bit of conversation about this too recently. One of the things I appreciated was um, that you gave me a form to kind of prompt me to think about what my goals were as a mandolin player. Not just that you could help kind of provide some guidance, but also for as an opportunity for me to have a little bit of self-reflection. And so coming out of that, some of the things I'm going to be focusing on are, kind of working on those areas that we both kind of identified as some of the ones that I really could use strengthening in. So, I'm going to be
Yeah.
working on comping. I'm going
Yes.
to be working on, learning a few more tunes and focusing on some of the fiddle tunes that I've already learned. Um, and more maybe a little bit further out. But even within this 6 month period, I'm probably going to start looking for opportunities to play with people, at least
Yeah.
casually, and to get exposed to that. I'm definitely going to work on incorporating more like accompaniment tracks and things like that into my private, personal practice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. And I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of nice things will happen to you and your music now that when we happen to be in that situation when playing with others. I think it's the really going to be the right next step for you to. And I mean, also one thing like hearing what you are working on and what you see ahead, it's sort of the same that I'm kind of doing myself, learning new tunes, working on my comping, looking for new people to play with. I mean, it is just interesting. It's wherever we are on this journey, it's not that different in a way.
Mhm.
And also, yeah, so it's just an interesting thing to think about.
Definitely.
So glad to have you here, David. I'm proud of your work. You've done really good here. And I mean, like with your playing over the last month, so just keep going and got a good time ahead. Anything else you want to leave to the community, like end this conversation, or is it, what do you?
Yeah. Well, I'll reflect back to you and just say thanks. Thank you, Magnus. I do appreciate everything that you've done to help me along my growth as a musician. Um, and I would say to the others in the community, I'll be around. I'm going to continue to be a part of Mandolin Secrets Academy and be in the community, and I'm going to make an effort to be on more of the calls, on the Monday calls. But I would say if anybody, did have any questions that I could help with, certainly I'll keep an eye on the community boards there and be happy to provide more feedback about the experience or answer any questions that people might have for me from my perspective, if that will be helpful. So, yeah.
That's perfect, David. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and we talk soon.